Prince William is reportedly considering taking a notable step regarding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and the move is said to be more significant than anything discussed before. Although nothing has been officially announced, information circulating from within the palace suggests that he may soon make an important decision about the royal title the couple continues to hold, even though they stepped away from their official royal responsibilities quite some time ago. Even though they had previously expressed their intention to step back from their official roles and no longer rely on certain royal privileges, Meghan Markle has still been noted using her HRH title, which has sparked questions about whether that promise will be fully honored. So how might Prince William choose to approach this situation moving forward? Let us know your thoughts. Leave a comment with a 1 if you understand this perspective, or a 0 if you see things differently. We'd love to hear from you. And remember to like and subscribe so you won't miss what happens next, as we continue uncovering the details behind this unfolding story. It's a system specifically designed to prevent exactly what critics claim has occurred over the past 4 years. Unapproved narratives, uncontrolled messaging, and personal campaigns that draw attention away from the royal family itself. Meghan has repeatedly stepped outside that system, despite resistance from those who uphold the traditional principles of the monarchy. And each time she challenges these rules, it creates a ripple, not just through the media, but within the very system she appears to be challenging. It was a move that Queen Elizabeth herself reportedly blocked after advisors warned that it could turn a royal title into a commercial brand. The petition laid out these activities in detail, framing them as a potential misuse of noble status for personal gain. From Parliament's perspective, this wasn't simply a case of royalty overlapping with a career. It appeared to be a deliberate strategy, a carefully calculated effort to shape the Sussex identity into a marketable brand, capable of generating revenue through documentaries, podcasts, interviews, merchandise, and broader influence. The turning point, it seems, came all the way from Nigeria, thousands of miles away. The trip was officially presented as a private visit, yet it displayed all the hallmarks of a formal royal engagement. Meghan appeared alongside Harry in traditional attire, addressed audiences, posed for photos with senior military officials, and received honors that, by long-standing tradition, would normally require clearance from the palace or the Foreign Office. According to insiders, however, no such approval was ever granted. For centuries, royal titles have stood as symbols of tradition and authority. Under the House of Sussex, however, they began to be treated as assets. And when assets are used in ways seen as improper, the law comes into play. The law sparks petitions, and petitions bring real-world consequences. Inside Westminster, this chapter in Meghan's story is seen not simply as personal ambition, but as a kind of transformation. A duchess becomes a global entertainment figure, leveraging a title she was never meant to profit from. This dynamic doesn't just create tension within the royal family, it also fuels a quiet clash between the forces of traditional authority and the rising influence of modern celebrity culture. Meghan's move away from the royal family's direct oversight, crafting her own path with independent messaging and strategies, has raised a major question about power, control, and influence in a system where every action is carefully scrutinized. It's not simply about taking charge of her own life. Her actions have shifted the way the world sees the royal family, and that is something the House of Lords feels cannot be allowed to continue unchecked. They are beginning to recognize that if they fail to act swiftly, the consequence could be a significant erosion of authority beyond their control. They specifically pointed to the podcast as an example of a potential breach of long-standing rules that prevent members of the royal family from making statements that contradict the monarchy, embarrass the institution, or present personal stories as official fact. According to sources, the Lords described this as a global embarrassment, an affront to the institution by someone who still held a title meant to signify responsibility and service. In their view, Meghan had transformed private grievances into a form of public diplomacy, all without accountability, oversight, or formal approval. And Parliament, they felt, had grown increasingly frustrated with seeing long-standing traditions broken so publicly. Instead, what many observers saw were red carpets for celebrities, Hollywood contracts, and personal grievances dominating global headlines, all while a duchess lived thousands of miles away in Montecito, far removed from the crown yet still carrying its name. To the British public, the title appeared increasingly out of place. To Parliament, it seemed to have been turned into a tool or weapon. Taken together, these factors set the stage for an unprecedented decision, one that would transform this story from a matter of public controversy into a chapter of constitutional history. While the palace has remained largely silent and the royal family keeps its distance, the public has made its opinions known. A national YouGov poll revealed a notable shift in sentiment. 77% of the British public believe Meghan should be stripped of her title as the Duchess of Sussex. Support for this stance came from across the political spectrum, from conservatives and centrists to progressives. The poll also found that 61% felt Prince Harry should lose his title, particularly in light of his HR approach to public life. These results reportedly sent a stronger message to Westminster than any interview, documentary, or media statement ever could. The House of Lords, long seen as defenders of tradition and guardians of the royal family's integrity, has stepped into the space left by a silent monarchy and a duchess living abroad. If the petition succeeds, Meghan could face something no modern royal has ever encountered before. The removal of her noble title would not be a voluntary renunciation, nor a negotiable decision. It would be a legal erasure, enforced by law. Her podcast episodes became key examples referenced in parliamentary discussions. In these episodes, she spoke about the royal family's treatment of her child, her struggles with mental health, claims of racism, and personal experiences that supported her independent projects. Each statement quickly reached far beyond the podcast's intended audience. Every episode made headlines, and every headline widened the gap between public perception and the royal family's silence. To the Lords, this was more than just media content. It was viewed as a potential violation of long-standing norms. The Duchess of Sussex may soon close a chapter, with her title rewritten and her appellation returned to the monarchy. This moment, this petition, this unprecedented action, carries significance far beyond Meghan Markle herself. The Lords understand a crucial point. If a royal title can be treated as a brand, it loses its meaning. If it can be used without responsibility, it loses its dignity. And if it can be commercialized, politicized, and turned into a global entertainment spectacle, the monarchy stands to lose far more than respect. It stands to lose power. Public opinion isn't just idle chatter or passing gossip. Public opinion generates pressure, and pressure often evolves into a mandate. A mandate, in turn, can drive decisive action. Behind the scenes, sources say the House of Lords quietly referenced this poll to justify their intervention, treating it as more than just numbers. It was interpreted as a national call to uphold tradition. They approached it not out of malice, but from a sense of duty and responsibility. The British public is sending a clear and undeniable message. The title no longer reflects the values of duty, loyalty, or service to the public that it was meant to embody. In the oldest chambers of power in England, beneath domes and glittering lights that have witnessed centuries of history, a petition now rests. A petition that could permanently end Meghan Markle's role as the Duchess of Sussex. This is no longer a personal dispute. It's no longer about character, reputation, or even royal politics. This has become a constitutional matter. What began as a quiet whisper, a subtle murmur echoing through the halls of Westminster, has now grown into a clear and resounding statement. Above all, this is something the House of Lords is determined not to ignore. Now the entire world watches quietly, with tension, as the future of the Duchess of Sussex title hangs by a thread. A duchess in California, a petition in Westminster, a monarchy that seems stalled, and a parliament steadily moving forward. This is the scene. This isn't the conclusion of the story, it's the threshold of the next chapter. A moment suspended between tradition and transformation, between silence and consequence. Once Parliament takes action, the world will see whether Meghan Markle's royal era is truly coming to an end, or if the royal family is preparing to redraw the boundaries between monarchy, celebrity, and power for generations to come. What do you think lies ahead for the Duchess of Sussex title? Will Meghan Markle continue to push boundaries and shape her own path, or will she face consequences that are impossible to avoid? We want to hear your opinion. Share it in the comments below. Type 1 if you empathize with Meghan and her choices, or 0 if you see the situation differently. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss updates on the most dramatic and fascinating stories involving the royal family, shifting centers of power, and the major changes that are shaping the world today. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to exploring these unfolding stories with you in the next video. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a closer look at a shocking story that's been blowing up across social media, viral claims about Ozzy Osbourne's final moments. Posts and images are spreading fast, leaving fans around the world stunned and confused. But what's really going on? Is there any truth behind these rumors, or is it just another wave of misinformation? Stay with us as we break it all down. You won't want to miss this. Are you an Ozzy Osbourne fan? If you are, drop a 1 in the comments. If you only know him from his iconic music, type a 0. And don't forget to enjoy the video and hit that subscribe button. Your support helps our channel grow stronger every day. After Ozzy's passing, his family shared private photos and intimate moments from his final days. Among them was a video of him congratulating his daughter and expressing his wish to see her in her wedding dress, a moment that touched millions of hearts. Though so weak he could barely stand, he still managed a smile, his hoarse voice full of love. His family revealed that it was his devotion to his children that gave him strength in those last days. In that moment, Ozzy was no longer just a rock star. He was a father, simple, warm, and profoundly human. Through stories shared by friends and family, fans began to understand the struggles Ozzy endured. Parkinson's disease slowly took away his mobility, brought constant pain, and sometimes affected his mood. Yet he never complained in front of his loved ones, especially his daughter. Ozzy carried himself with strength until the very end, determined for his children to remember him as a resilient father. Perhaps it was the love of his family that became his greatest source of strength, helping him face those final difficult days with courage. The final chapter of Ozzy's life was profoundly moving. As his health declined and constant pain made each day a challenge, he grew frail, but he never stopped fighting. Throughout it all, his wife Sharon remained steadfast by his side, never leaving him for a moment. She cared for him, helped ease his pain, and gave him the strength and encouragement to keep going. proving that love and devotion can shine brightest in life's toughest moments. Even as Ozzy's health worsened, Sharon remained by his side every day, surrounding him with love and care. She witnessed his toughest moments as Parkinson's and other complications took their toll, with constant medication needed to ease the pain. His children, Kelly and Jack, were also there during his final days, offering support and reminding him of the unbreakable bond and deep love of family. The precious moments Ozzy spent with his family became a wellspring of strength, helping him endure the physical pain and exhaustion. Even in his weakest moments, their love kept him determined not to give up. Alongside his family, close friends, including Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler, his former Black Sabbath bandmates, shared heartfelt stories of his final days. They recalled standing together through the highs and lows of their musical journey, cherishing the bond that had carried them through decades of shared struggles and triumphs. Ozzy's longtime friends spoke with deep admiration and love for him. Even as his health declined, they remembered a true fighter who never gave up. The stories shared by his friends and family painted a vivid picture of Ozzy Osbourne's final days. Days marked by pain, yet overflowing with love from a legend who dedicated his life to music and to the people he cherished most. The life and career of Ozzy Osbourne is a tale of struggle, triumph, and unforgettable moments. From a humble boy growing up in Birmingham, he overcame personal hardships to become one of music's most iconic figures. Though his journey had its darker chapters, it was his resilience and the unexpected twists along the way that solidified his legendary status. Ozzy Osbourne was more than an artist. He was a symbol of rebellion, freedom, and unwavering perseverance. Ozzy Osbourne was born in 1948 into a poor family in Birmingham, England, and faced many hardships during his childhood. His parents divorced when he was very young, leaving his mother, Pamela, to raise him and his siblings alone. Growing up in poverty made Ozzy keenly aware of deprivation, and he dreamed of escaping that life. School never captured his interest, but music did. Despite being ridiculed by classmates for poor grades and social struggles, Ozzy found comfort, purpose, and an outlet for his passions in music, setting the stage for the legend he would become. At just 15, Ozzy left school and took on a variety of jobs to help make ends meet, working as a mechanic and even spending time in a car factory. But no matter what job he did, music always called to him. Soon, he made the bold decision to follow his passion full-time. Ozzy joined several small bands, honing his skills and stage presence, until fate led him to Black Sabbath, the group that would not only change his life, but also redefine the future of rock music. Black Sabbath was born in 1968 when Ozzy joined forces with his close friends Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward. Together, they crafted a sound that would revolutionize rock music, pioneering the genre we now call heavy metal. With iconic tracks like Iron Man, Paranoid, and War Pigs, the band captured a raw, dark energy that reflected rebellion, frustration, and the societal unrest of their time. These songs weren't just music, they were anthems that defined a generation. Despite Black Sabbath's enormous success, Ozzy was forced to leave the band in 1979 due to personal conflicts and battles with addiction. While many might have seen this as the end of his career, it marked the beginning of a new chapter. Launching a solo career, Ozzy quickly became a legend in his own right with albums like Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. Hits such as Crazy Train catapulted him to even greater fame, cementing his status as one of rock music's most iconic and enduring figures. Thanks to his raw talent and electrifying stage presence, Ozzy quickly became a global rock icon. He was more than a singer. He embodied chaos, rebellion, and unpredictability every time he stepped on stage. One of the most infamous moments came in 1982, when Ozzy bit the head off a bat during a performance in Iowa, a stunt that has since entered rock legend. But these shocking acts were more than publicity. They were a reflection of his untamed spirit and fearless approach to life and music. These shocking and wild moments weren't just stunts. They reflected Ozzy's personal struggles and the inner battles he faced. They were his way of coping with pain while carrying the heavy weight of fame. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Ozzy reached the pinnacle of his solo career, but his legend wasn't built on music alone. He became a living part of popular culture, a symbol of rebellion, chaos, and unyielding individuality. From his groundbreaking work with Black Sabbath to his solo career, Ozzy didn't just help define heavy metal, he pushed rock music to entirely new heights. Constantly reinventing himself, he secured a legendary place in the hearts of fans worldwide. A major turning point came in 2002, when he and his family starred in the reality TV show The Osbournes, giving the public a rare glimpse of the man behind the music. This came as a huge surprise to many fans, revealing a side of Ozzy they had never seen before. Beyond the legendary rock star persona, viewers saw a devoted father, a loving husband, and sometimes a quirky, awkward man navigating everyday life. The Osbournes introduced Ozzy to a whole new audience, people who weren't necessarily rock fans but grew to admire his family and enjoy the humor and unpredictability that made him so relatable. The contrast between the wild Ozzy Osbourne on stage and his real-life self is what made him so fascinating. On stage, he was the Prince of Darkness, fierce, fearless, and utterly unpredictable. But on the Osbournes, fans discovered a different side, a humorous, sometimes clumsy, and deeply endearing Ozzy as a husband and father. This unexpected contrast made him relatable, real, and human. Beyond the rock legend persona, Ozzy revealed a loving, vulnerable man, just like anyone else. Despite a lifetime filled with controversies, from turbulent personal struggles to battles with substance abuse, Ozzy Osbourne has remained a beloved icon worldwide. Fans admire him not just for his legendary work with Black Sabbath or his groundbreaking solo career, but for his resilience. Every setback made him return stronger. Ozzy never stops reinventing himself while staying unmistakably true. His music transcends generations, defies prejudice, and continues to inspire. That is why his legacy lives on in the hearts of rock fans everywhere. From a poor boy in Birmingham to a global rock legend, Ozzy's life is a testament to passion, perseverance, and resilience. He overcame illness, addiction, and countless personal struggles, yet never stopped moving forward. Ozzy Osbourne was never perfect, and it was precisely that imperfection that made him unforgettable. To fans around the world, he was more than an artist. He was a symbol of life itself, of fighting back, and of never giving up. Though his story has reached its final chapter, Ozzy will forever burn bright as an eternal flame in the world of rock music. When news of Ozzy Osbourne's passing broke, the entire music world felt the weight of an irreplaceable loss. For nearly half a century, Ozzy had been more than a musician. He was a cultural icon whose presence shaped generations. Despite facing countless hardships, from serious illnesses to personal struggles, his passing left a deep and lasting sadness in the hearts of millions around the world. Ozzy Osbourne passed away on July 21, 2025, at the age of 76. The official cause was complications from Parkinson's disease, a battle he had faced for many years. His passing didn't just mark the loss of an extraordinary artist. It closed a chapter of rock and metal history. Known for a life full of daring moments, controversy, and unforgettable music, Ozzy spent his final moments peacefully, surrounded by his family, a calm ending after decades of chaos and struggle. News of Ozzy Osbourne's passing sent shockwaves across the media and social platforms. Fans who had followed him since the early Black Sabbath days and through his solo career were left heartbroken. Tributes quickly poured in, from fellow musicians, colleagues, and devoted fans alike. The very first response, however, came from Ozzy's own family, who shared their love and memories of the rock legend. Sharon, his wife of many years, shared a heartfelt message. He was not only a wonderful husband, but also a loving father and grandfather. Our family will miss him forever. She had stood by Ozzy through his long battle with illness, witnessing his struggles, yet never losing hope or faith in his strength. In Ozzy's final moments, Sharon remained his greatest source of comfort, helping him find peace despite the pain caused by Parkinson's. His children, Kelly and Jack, were also heartbroken. Jack Osbourne shared on his personal page, "My dad was a one-of-a-kind person. He fought through everything life threw at him. And although he is gone, his legacy will live on in us and in the music world." Both Kelly and Jack shared heartfelt memories of their family life, showing that Ozzy was not just a global star, but also a devoted, loving father. His passing was not only a heartbreaking loss for his family, but also a profound shock to the global music community. This isn't a tabloid story blown out of proportion, it's a major constitutional shakeup. Behind closed doors at Westminster, members of the British Parliament are reportedly considering a move few ever expected, a proposal that could permanently remove Harry and Meghan's royal titles. A confidential draft, informally referred to as the Royal Reset button, is said to be taking shape. And its purpose?
Paper on the table.
Direct and decisive, remove every remaining privilege. For Meghan, it would be the moment she feared most. The foundation of her multi-million-dollar Duchess image could begin to unravel. For Harry, losing the title of Prince would carry huge personal consequences, leaving him uncertain about what comes next and possibly reaching out to the palace quietly. But the bigger question remains. Who is the low-profile strategist driving this bold, behind-the-scenes effort?
Of the highest heights.
Sources suggest that while King Charles is caught between his role as a father and his duties as monarch, another senior royal, Prince William, may have reached his limit and moved quietly behind the scenes. Today, we're taking a closer look at reported documents, the growing tension in Montecito, and the intense internal dynamics that appear to be reshaping the royal family from within. If you're ready to explore what's really being discussed, hit like on this video, comment "Royal Collapse," and make sure to subscribe.
Whispers in the shadows of the highest height.
Picture this. It's not a scene pulled from a long-running TV drama, nor is it a flashy headline from a tabloid. It's a serious scenario being discussed. Inside the historic stone halls of the UK Parliament, a major political shift is reportedly taking shape. For the first time in many years, elected officials, rather than the royal family, are said to be considering an unprecedented step: a proposal that could permanently remove Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's royal titles.
Names written in fire.
Yes, you heard that correctly. This isn't just royal chatter anymore. It's being discussed as a government issue. A proposal reportedly referred to by some insiders at Westminster as the Patent Reform Act is said to be quietly taking shape. Some have even nicknamed it the Royal Reset Button. It's a move so significant that it's rumored to have caused serious waves among even the most seasoned staff within Buckingham Palace.
Balancing on a wire.
According to those who have glimpsed the early drafts, the aim of this bill is clear and striking: to remove all royal titles and revoke honors that are no longer seen as serving the public or upholding national dignity. This could affect not only Prince Andrew, whose reputation has been tarnished, but also the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Harry and Meghan, the couple often criticized for turning their royal status into business ventures, reportedly worth millions over the past few years. Their widely discussed Netflix projects and candid public revelations have reportedly rattled the traditional image of the monarchy. For generations, the royal family has followed the mantra, "Keep calm and carry on." But now it seems Parliament's tolerance may have reached its limit. As one insider at Westminster reportedly said, "If you spend your time criticizing the institution, you can't continue reaping its benefits." This isn't just another royal story anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a constitutional shakeup. When the government steps in to address issues the monarchy, for whatever reason, cannot or will not handle itself, it signals that something deep within the system has shifted. So the question becomes clear: how did we get to this point? To truly understand what's unfolding, we need to go back in time, not just a few years, but over a century, all the way to 1917. The world was in the grip of war. Britain was locked in one of the deadliest conflicts in its history. Sitting on the throne was King George V, the great-grandfather of Queen Elizabeth II. Amid a wave of anti-German sentiment, King George V made a bold, historic move. He changed his family's name from the German Saxe-Coburg and Gotha to a distinctly English name, Windsor. But he didn't stop there. King George V also issued a legal decree known as the Letters Patent. This document set the modern rules for who could be called a prince or princess, and who could carry the style of His or Her Royal Highness. In essence, it was the law that defined the royal bloodline. It was intended to streamline the monarchy, and it is still in effect today. It's the 1917 Letters Patent that explains why Harry's children, Archie and Lilibet, automatically received the titles of Prince and Princess when their grandfather Charles became king. But now, over a century later, lawmakers are reportedly considering updating those rules for a modern era, a world shaped by social media, global media deals, and constant public scrutiny. They argue it's a world where royal titles aren't simply inherited. They must be earned, or at the very least upheld, through service, duty, and respect for the institution that bestows them. Imagine that. The very rule that allowed Archie and Lilibet to be called Prince and Princess could now be revised to take that right away. This isn't the first time the monarchy has faced a major upheaval. In 1936, King Edward VIII abdicated the throne to marry an American divorcee, Wallis Simpson. His decision sent shockwaves across the British Empire and transformed the monarchy forever. That event came to be known as the abdication crisis. And now, nearly a century later, royal historians are warning of another potential crisis. This time, it isn't about love, it's about loyalty. Or, more specifically, the perceived absence of it. The British establishment, or at least a powerful segment of it, appears to believe that royal is no longer simply a brand to leverage. It must be a responsibility. That's why this rumored reform bill is attracting so much attention. If it were to pass, it could become one of the most significant constitutional moves since the abdication. It would grant Parliament unprecedented authority to revoke a royal's titles if they are judged to have misused their privileges or harmed the reputation of the crown. For the first time in generations, the monarchy itself could be held accountable. Yet, as Parliament reportedly prepares to take action, whispers from within the royal household hint that this story isn't just about politics. It's also deeply personal. Behind this quiet storm, sources suggest there is one man at the center, Prince William, the Prince of Wales, and the future king. For months, perhaps even years, William is said to have watched quietly as his younger brother and sister-in-law turned royal life into a global brand. The tell-all interviews, the confessional Netflix series, the revealing memoirs, and the podcasts. The endless headlines have dragged their family, and more importantly, the legacy of his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, through the mud. Those close to the Prince of Wales describe him as composed in public, yet intensely passionate in private. He is reportedly worn out by what some aides have dubbed the Sussex Circus. According to senior royal staff, William believes that as long as Harry and Meghan retain their titles, they still hold leverage. As long as they hold the titles of Duke and Duchess, they can continue to benefit from their status. And William believes the monarchy will never fully move forward. Sources say he has urged his father, King Charles, to take a firmer stance, to safeguard the dignity of the crown. But King Charles, as we'll explore, is reportedly torn between his role as a father and his duty as king. And so William... This isn't a palace coup, it's a calculated strategy. Sources suggest that William quietly started forging alliances within Westminster, not through commands, but by expressing deep concerns to senior courtiers, to sympathetic lawmakers, and to anyone who still believes the monarchy should represent honor rather than headlines. Before long, Parliament reportedly began to take notice. When Prince William acts, he doesn't shout or issue threats, he strategizes. Those close to him say he isn't simply responding to past events. He's aiming to reshape the future of the monarchy, a future that is leaner and more centered on duty. Behind the composed smiles and royal silence, William is said to have become the quiet architect of a deliberate movement. A movement that could ultimately cut the final tie, the tie of royal titles, between the Sussexes and the royal family. And that's where our story truly begins. A parliament strengthening its resolve, a future king sharpening his determination, and a monarchy facing its toughest challenge since the day a king gave up the throne for love. Inside Buckingham Palace, the mood is said to be tense and heavy. The ticking of antique clocks seems to echo through the palace's silent corridors. Somewhere between the throne and a father's heart, King Charles III is said to sit frozen in inner conflict. He is a monarch who spent his entire life waiting to reign, now facing a decision that could define his era. Yet he is also a father who, according to many sources, still loves the son the rest of the world views as a renegade. If you see it this way, type 1 in the comments. If you don't fully agree, type 0. Enjoy the video, and don't forget to like, share, and hit subscribe to support the channel. Thank you. Every comment helps us understand how viewers really feel about these dramatic, behind-the-scenes royal stories. And be sure to watch all the way to the end. What comes next could completely change the way you see this whole situation. His advisors, the men in gray who help run the institution, are reportedly pressing him to take action. "Your Majesty," they are said to have argued, "you need to decide before Parliament does. You must control this narrative." Yet, each time Charles has tried to make a final call on the Sussex matter, something seems to have held him back. Not duty, but fear. Behind closed doors, the king is reportedly anxious, not only as a father, but as a head of state. He worries about international reactions, particularly in the United States, where the Sussexes have cultivated a large following. He fears sensational headlines, accusations of pettiness, or worse. He fears losing the delicate support he has worked so hard to build since ascending the throne. He wants to be remembered as a gentle monarch, an environmental champion, and a dignified grandfather. And perhaps above all, he fears being remembered not as the king who kept his family united, but as the one who tore it apart. So he hesitates. And in the unforgiving world of royal power and politics, hesitation can be costly. While Charles is reportedly concerned about his image, Prince William is said to be focused on survival. Sources inside the palace claim the Prince of Wales has grown weary of what he calls soft diplomacy. For William, sources say, silence is a sign of weakness, and weakness is how empires crumble. This is the central tension of the new reign. A king who wants to heal, and an heir who believes the wound must be cut away to save the patient. While Charles seeks to maintain peace, William is reportedly preparing to defend the throne, and the son's steely resolve is said to be casting an ever-growing shadow over the father's crown. Behind the palace gates, no one reportedly dares to speak out. No raised voices, no confrontations in front of staff. Only a cold, heavy silence. A silence said to be far more intimidating than any argument. In royal life, silence can be the strongest form of communication. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, across the Atlantic in the quiet luxury of Montecito, California, Meghan Markle is reportedly facing an entirely different kind of storm. For years, her entire empire, podcasts, Netflix projects, design partnerships, public appearances, has centered around one sparkling word: Duchess. It's more than a title. It's her entire brand. As rumors of a potential bill in London began circulating behind the scenes, Meghan's team is said to have held emergency meetings late into the night. Public relations directors, lawyers, and strategists are said to have gathered around her, bracing for a potential showdown. Because if the title is taken away, everything connected to it could be at risk: reputation, influence, and brand power. Without the Duchess of Sussex designation, would she still command millions for speaking engagements? Would Netflix still be invested in her story? Some royal commentators even suggest that Meghan went so far as to legally adopt the surname Sussex in business filings. A step critics claim was intended to anchor her royal identity within the secular world of contracts and branding. For her, royalty had become an asset, a cornerstone of her empire. But now, the British Parliament reportedly threatens to wipe it away with the stroke of a pen. For nearly 50 years, Ron Howard has appeared to embody perfection. As a celebrated director with countless acclaimed films and stories cherished by audiences around the world, he has become not just a familiar name, but a defining image of success. But have you ever questioned whether that flawless image is completely genuine? In a recent interview, Ron Howard opened up about the hidden struggles behind his smile. A devastating choice he faced in 1991 still lingers with him today, nearly costing him someone he loved as they struggled with addiction at a time when his career was soaring. This rarely told chapter of his life will make you see Ron Howard in a completely different way. Leave a comment with the number 1 if you feel for what Ron went through, or 0 if you see it differently. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss what comes next, where we uncover the full truth behind this story. And when the day came on set where his body gave out, Ron's revelation about what truly happened during those months, he vanished from the spotlight, is enough to break anyone's heart. Ronald William Howard was born on the 1st of March, 1954, in Duncan, Oklahoma. And from the moment he entered the world, he was surrounded by the sound of dialogue. His father, Rance Howard, had adopted the last name Howard as his stage name in 1948, before serving in the Air Force. His mother, Jean Spiegel, trained as an actress and married Rance in 1949 inches Winchester, Kentucky. When Ron arrived, Rance was still serving, juggling the demands of military life with his hopes of making it on screen. But even before Ron could say his first words, he had already been in front of a camera. At only 18 months old, he made his on-screen debut in a Western film called Frontier Woman, shot between late 1955 and early 1956. That set wasn't just his first appearance, it marked the start of a life where childhood and the camera became inseparable. While other toddlers were figuring out how to walk, Ron was learning how to stand under studio lights. When television began shifting west, the Howard family packed their things and left Oklahoma behind. Rance drove them straight to California, not for the sunshine, but for opportunity. He wasn't chasing fame, he was taking a chance on being close to the new heart of television. Ron was barely a toddler, yet the move placed him near producers, writers, and studio lots, long before he ever sat in a classroom. He was already working on Playhouse 90 before he even started elementary school. And by the time his younger brother, Clint, was born on the 20th of April, 1959, in Burbank, the family's plan had paid off. Their finances were handled within the household. No studio-appointed guardians, no outside interference, just a devoted father balancing his own acting jobs while being the steady foundation for his sons. Rance went on to appear in more than 140 films and 177 television episodes, not to gain celebrity status, but to remain close to Ron's world and keep the entire family moving forward. Then came the 3rd of October 1960. Ron was just 6 years old. That night, America was introduced to Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show. On paper, Ron was simply another child actor billed as Ronnie Howard. But on set, something unique was happening. Rance didn't just drop his son off, he pushed the writers. After reviewing the script, he told the producers that the father-son scenes felt forced. Andy Griffith listened. Together, they agreed to something authentic. The bond between Andy and Opie would reflect the real bond between Ron and Rance. That handshake became the heart and soul of the show. Over the years, Rance even guest starred 5 times, always staying close as Ron tackled scripts and schedules that would challenge most adults. Across 8 seasons, ending in 1968, Ron didn't just grow up, he experienced a television childhood shaped by love, hard work, and adult-level expectations, all woven into small-town stories. Their Burbank home wasn't a celebrity mansion. Ron attended Robert Louis Stevenson Elementary, followed by David Starr Jordan Middle School, and eventually John Burroughs High School. The family ate meatballs, fish patties, and lived frugally, aware that the future for performers could be uncertain. Scripts often piled up on the dinner table, yet Rance and Jean stuck to their rules: no hired guardians, no stage parent drama. Ron played park league sports whenever he wasn't memorizing lines. Clint also entered the business, quietly building a career with over 200 roles. They were brothers, yes, but also colleagues, learning from a very young age what it meant to be in front of and behind the camera. Ron's work ethic didn't come from being a child star, it came from disciplined training. Rance taught him how to truly listen, how to pause, and how to respond like a real person, not just a performer. When Ron landed the role of Opie, it was because he didn't behave like a typical child actor. He simply acted naturally. Producer Sheldon Leonard noticed right away, saying that Ron never tried to be cute, the boy just told the truth. That was Rance's lesson. Be honest, not charming. Even at 6 years old, Ron's early paycheck was only a few $100s per episode, but it grew steadily as the show became a hit. He was still losing his baby teeth when fans in Burbank stopped him for autographs. Yet, while his face was on television, his childhood was quietly slipping away. One of the most unforgettable moments came in 1963, Season 4, Episode 1, Opie, the Birdman. At just 9 years old, Ron filmed a scene where Opie cares for orphaned baby birds after accidentally killing their mother. There was no overacting, he simply stood there, breathing, blinking, and letting genuine emotion guide him. Director Bob Sweeney barely needed any retakes. Andy Griffith called it a true moment of maturity. Ron used the substitution technique. If a scene called for sadness, he would think of something genuinely painful, then let it go once the camera stopped. It wasn't just raw talent, it was a level of emotional control most children never achieve. Yet despite all the love and attention on set, Ron still felt lonely. He later described those years as a golden cage, safe but confined. On set, he had a small schoolroom near Stage 40 at Desilu Kawenga. California law required just 3 hours of schooling each day, alongside a total of 8 working hours. A social welfare worker was always nearby, but Ron had no real classmates. He studied math while Grips pushed carts across the set. At lunch, he sat with his father, or the props master. Andy Griffith played guitar, and Don Knotts told gentle jokes, trying to make the environment feel normal. Yet Ron missed sandlot baseball and neighborhood bike rides. He never complained, but the pressure weighed on him. In 1962, the Music Man introduced a new kind of challenge. The 8-year-old was cast as Winthrop Peru in a major musical production. The problem? He was tone-deaf and had 2 left feet. Conductor Ray Hindorf spent hours teaching him to sing Gary, Indiana. During the soft shoe routine, Ron panicked and whispered to Shirley Jones, "I can't do it, Shirley, I can't do it." She helped soothe his nerves. The crew filmed him from the knees up and added the tapping sounds later, and it worked. His shy, charming performance helped make the film one of 1962's biggest hits. What no one saw was the effort behind the scenes. Between takes, Ron not only memorized his own lines, but also Shirley Jones's. He played with dolls, acting out entire scenes and guiding the tiny cast members through their marks and lines. To outsiders, it looked like a child's game. To Shirley Jones, it looked like a director in the making. Rance had started writing scripts for the Flintstones and other shows. He taught Ron how to break down a scene and understand a character's motivation in every line. Those lessons never disappeared, they lay quietly in the background until Ron began directing films like Grand Theft Auto at age 23. By 1966, Ron tried something different. He joined the Monroes, a Western series filmed in the rugged Wyoming Rockies. The terrain was tough and unforgiving. He learned to ride horses by observing the ranch hands. The location was costly, and the series lasted just 26 episodes before NBC canceled it in 1967. Ron was only 13. For the first time, he felt a sense of abandonment. The Andy Griffith Show was still going strong, but the failure of the Monroes hit him hard. He blamed himself, and that sting stayed with him. In 1968, the first episode of The Brady Bunch was casting, and Ron was invited to audition. He turned it down not because he didn't want to, but because his parents wouldn't allow it. Rance and Jean had a rule. One parent had to be home every day from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. If work called, they insisted on balance. They wanted him to grow up like a normal kid. Ron wanted that too. At 14, he craved school, privacy, and friends. He skipped the audition, and in hindsight, it may have saved his career. By 1974, he landed the role of Richie Cunningham on Happy Days, a part that carried him through his teens and gave him both the money and freedom to step back from the camera when needed. In 1969, Ron's agent pulled off something impressive. He was making roughly $50,000 a year from residuals from the Andy Griffith Show, more than what baseball star Sandy Koufax earned at the peak of his career. But the Howards didn't splurge. They lived modestly, opened savings accounts, bought U.S. bonds, and kept life simple. Ron pleaded with his parents to invest in a go-kart business with his friends. They agreed, and he ended up losing about $25,000. It was his first real lesson in risk. Acting earned him money, but managing it was a whole different challenge. That lesson stayed with him. On the 1st of April 1968, the final episode of The Andy Griffith Show aired. Ron was just 14. He knew every corner of the set, every light, every doorknob. That last week felt heavy. Everyone kept the call sheets as mementos. Andy and Ron stayed late to talk about baseball. Their farewell on camera was quiet, but Ron sensed that something significant had ended. He had spent his entire childhood within 45 feet of a camera. Now he had to grow into a teenager, and within 2 years, he was balancing school with auditions. When the Mayberry set was dismantled, the next chapter of his life had already begun. In 1974, a 19-year-old Ron Howard walked into Gary Marshall's office and changed everything. He didn't read lines like the other actors. He simply sat down and ordered a cherry phosphate, as if he'd been coming there every day. The chemistry with Henry Winkler was instant. It wasn't in the script, but it didn't matter. Within 12 minutes, Ron had become Richie Cunningham, and Marshall recognized it immediately. ABC still had doubts. They worried that the boy from Mayberry wouldn't be believable as a teenager. But Gary Marshall stood firm, and Ron signed a 5-year contract for $7,500 per episode. He beat out 35 other actors not by overacting, but by speaking just like someone who would help an elderly woman carry her groceries. That authenticity earned him 255 episodes. By season 5 inches 1,977, however, Ron had played the cheerful teenager for so long that the role began to feel a bit artificial. He was 23, still playing a teenager frozen in time while the real world raged outside. The Vietnam War dominated newspapers and broadcasts, and it felt surreal that Richie never acknowledged it. So Ron wrote a 3-page memo to ABC. He requested more real-life themes and even suggested a storyline where Richie faced the draft. They said no, too political, too risky for advertisers. The compromise came only in small, fleeting moments. Richie reading a newspaper about the war in the background. A passing comment about a deferment. Ron felt trapped. He later told TV Guide that playing a happy teenager while the world was anything but happy made him feel like he couldn't breathe. That frustration planted a seed inside him. He didn't just want to act, he wanted control. He wanted to direct. By 1976, Fonzie was everywhere. Leather jackets, posters, toys, and lunchboxes flooded the market, with merchandise totaling $50 million. ABC even tried renaming the show Fonzie's Happy Days. Ron had seen this kind of fight before. His father, Rance, had battled for advertising rights throughout his career. So Ron stood his ground, earning $15,000 per episode. He told ABC he would walk away if they changed the show's title. He gave them 48 hours to keep it, or they risked losing him and facing a $500,000 breach of contract lawsuit. Gary Marshall backed him. The show wasn't just about Fonzie, it was about family. ABC compromised. The title stayed the same, but Fonzie was moved to the first position in the opening credits. It was a quiet victory. Then, in October 1977, Ron finally got his moment. He directed Season 5, Episode 5, A Date with Fonzie. The budget was tiny, just $10,000, 32 scenes to shoot in 3 days. He arrived with a shot list so meticulous that the crew called it Spielberg level. One scene followed Fonzie through Arnold's diner in a single 90-second tracking shot. Normally, this would take hours. Ron nailed it in 2 takes, saving $3,000. Ratings jumped 12%, meaning 31 million viewers tuned in. ABC gave him 2 more episodes to direct, paying an extra $2,500 per episode on top of his acting salary. Henry Winkler later said Ron challenged him in the best possible way. He focused on real emotion instead of cheap punchlines. Meanwhile, something else was quietly unfolding. In 1976, Ron acted in Eat My Dust, a low-budget teen film from Roger Corman, but not just for fun. He made a deal. He would only appear if Corman let him direct the sequel. That film became Grand Theft Auto, released in 1977. Ron co-wrote it with his father, Rance. The production budget was $602,000, yet the movie earned $15 million, a staggering 400% profit margin. They destroyed 70 cars on camera, including a $40,000 Rolls-Royce, 3 Cadillacs, and 7 police vehicles. Ron didn't need permits, he shot on real roads near Victorville. Cameras shook, cars flipped, and the chaos felt authentic. He even cast his mother, his brother Clint, and Happy Days co-star Marion Ross in the film. Grand Theft Auto premiered on the 16th of June, 1977. Suddenly, no one laughed at the red-haired kid from Mayberry anymore. Ron was only 21 when he married Cheryl Alley on the 7th of June, 1975. They had been high school sweethearts. Asterisk. He proposed to Cheryl Alley on the sofa at his parents' house. Henry Winkler served as best man, with Andy Griffith and Tom Bosley also in attendance. When Cheryl went into labor with their first child, Ron was on a film set. He dropped everything and rushed to the hospital. Years later, he said it plainly, Cheryl was the real story. She always had been. While he filmed, wrote, and directed, she was the one who held it all together. In 1982, Ron took a chance with Night Shift, a dark comedy set in a morgue. The story was completely wild. If you feel the sacrifice and genuine love in Ron and Cheryl's story, leave a comment with the number 1. Don't forget to like and subscribe to follow the fascinating and surprising stories we'll share in upcoming videos. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a closer look at a shocking story that's been blowing up across social media, viral claims about Ozzy Osbourne's final moments. Posts and images are spreading fast, leaving fans around the world stunned and confused. But what's really going on? Is there any truth behind these rumors, or is it just another wave of misinformation? Stay with us as we break it all down. You won't want to miss this. Are you an Ozzy Osbourne fan? If you are, drop a 1 in the comments. If you only know him from his iconic music, type a 0. And don't forget to enjoy the video and hit that subscribe button. Your support helps our channel grow stronger every day. Few people know that in his later years, Ozzy Osbourne recorded a short, personal message, less than 2 minutes long, but filled with the passion and gratitude that defined his life. In it, he spoke honestly about the challenges of living with long-term health issues, while thanking the fans and family members who had stood by him through every chapter of his journey. From the glory days with Black Sabbath to the moments when he needed extra support to move around. His voice was softer, a bit unsteady, but his eyes still carried the same fiery spirit he once brought to stages around the world. What moved his family the most was the final frame of the message. Ozzy sitting quietly in front of a large hand-painted portrait bearing the words, "I'm not afraid, I'm at peace." It was a piece of art he kept in his private room, a reminder of everything he had overcome throughout his life. That moment didn't just touch his family, it stirred emotions in millions of fans who had followed him through decades of highs and lows. Ozzy, once wild, rebellious, and surrounded by controversy, became a symbol of strength, honesty, and vulnerability. His legacy goes far beyond the music he created. It lies in the resilience he showed, the courage he carried, and the message he left for the world. Even in the face of life's hardest battles, peace is something we can still choose. Ozzy Osbourne, one of rock music's greatest living legends, has faced countless health battles in his later years. Among the most challenging was Parkinson's disease, which he publicly revealed in 2019, a diagnosis that reshaped his daily life in ways few could imagine. The illness gradually affected his mobility, turning ordinary tasks into obstacles. Yet even in the face of such hardship, one thing never changed: Ozzy's fierce resilience and his unbreakable love for music. No matter how tough the journey became, that fire inside him never went out. After announcing his diagnosis, Ozzy Osbourne faced a series of difficult health challenges. He spent time in the hospital, underwent several medical procedures, and had long periods of recovery. Even so, he never turned his back on the stage. As the years went on and his strength gradually declined, walking became harder, and even his voice showed signs of strain. Yet none of that stopped him. Despite discomfort, fatigue, and the toll it took on his body, Ozzy kept performing, pushing past every limit with a determination fueled by his lifelong devotion to music. His love for music, and for his fans, was what carried him through every challenge. Ozzy was more than an artist. He was a fighter. Though his body grew frail, his spirit never faltered. On July 5th, 2025, he took the stage for what would be his final performance at Villa Park in Birmingham, the very place where his legendary career began. This wasn't just another concert, it was a powerful, symbolic moment, marking his reunion with Black Sabbath after 20 years. For many fans, this was more than a concert. It was a deeply emotional farewell. While most artists might have stepped back because of health struggles, Ozzy refused to let illness define him. Even as he faced pain and occasionally needed a chair for support, he rose to his feet and sang, giving fans one final gift from his incredible musical journey. The performance became an unforgettable goodbye. For everyone who had followed Ozzy through decades of music, it was clear this could be the last time they would witness him live on stage. Despite his declining health, Ozzy delivered a stirring message during his final performance. "Are you ready? Let the madness begin." These words were more than a call to the crowd. They were a bold, unforgettable farewell from an artist who had devoted his entire life to music. The energy in the arena was indescribable. His love for the fans, his unwavering determination, and the timeless power of his music combined to create a moment that no one present would ever forget. Even in the face of life's toughest challenges, Ozzy never stopped fighting, not for himself but for his fans and his music. Illness and physical pain could never keep him from the stage. That unbreakable, never-give-up spirit defined who Ozzy was, and his fans could feel it even in his most fragile moments. His resilience left an enduring mark on everyone who loved his music, reminding the world what true dedication looks like. Why did Ozzy keep performing, even when his health made it almost impossible? The answer is simple: music. For Ozzy, performing was never just a job, it was his life. Music was at the very heart of who he was, and stepping onto the stage for his fans gave him purpose and meaning. In a recent interview, he shared that music is what made his life truly worth living. That's why he pushed through illness and hardship, because music was the force that carried him forward. Ozzy Osbourne's life wasn't just filled with wild, unforgettable moments and controversy. It was also a story of perseverance, deep love for his family and fans, and an unyielding determination to never give up, even in the face of life's toughest challenges. He lived every moment to the fullest, and his final chapter stands as a testament to the unbreakable spirit of a true musical legend. When a legend like Ozzy Osbourne reaches the final chapter of his journey, it leaves not just his fans, but the entire world with an overwhelming sense of loss. What makes his story even more touching are the meaningful final moments, the unexpected twists, and the heartfelt goodbyes, glimpses of Ozzy's life that many fans had never seen until now. These moments reflected not only the love and resilience Ozzy carried for his family and fans, but also the perseverance and sacrifice that shaped his entire life. On July 5, 2025, he performed his final concert at Villa Park in Birmingham, the very place where his legendary career began. This was more than just a show. It was a historic event, marking his reunion with Black Sabbath after 20 years. The atmosphere at Villa Park that night felt almost timeless. Though Ozzy's voice wasn't as strong as it once was, every word he sang stirred waves of emotion across the thousands of fans in attendance. No one needed to speak. The power of the performance was felt by everyone. Each spotlight, each guitar note served as a silent farewell to the Prince of Darkness. And Ozzy himself, despite his frailty, smiled warmly, as if offering one last heartfelt thank you. Immediately after the performance, behind-the-scenes images began circulating on social media. Ozzy was guided into a wheelchair by two close assistants, his face showing exhaustion, yet his eyes still glowing with deep satisfaction. In that moment, he knew he had given everything to his music until the very end. Doctors later confirmed that he relied on strong pain medication just to take the stage, but Ozzy never let the audience see it, because to him, his fans always deserved a full, unforgettable performance. The very next day, social media overflowed with photos and heartfelt tributes to Ozzy Osbourne. The hashtag, #ThankYouOzzy, quickly topped global trends as fans shared their emotional goodbyes. Though he stepped away from the spotlight, his spirit and music will live on forever. Ozzy was not just a rock legend, he was a symbol of unwavering passion and determination. And perhaps he said farewell in the most fitting way. Through music, through emotion, and through the heart. The applause and cheers that night created a truly historic moment, as Ozzy delivered a full, unforgettable performance despite his health struggles. Fans at Villa Park will never forget the sight of him seated in his chair, gripping the microphone and singing every last note. his eyes taking in the crowd, feeling their love and support. It was a remarkable scene, a legend refusing to let illness or weakness keep him from doing what he loved most. The moment Ozzy witnessed his daughter's proposal became one of the brightest rays of light during his darkest days. Despite his physical pain and constant fatigue, he smiled, his eyes shining with pure joy. Surrounded by family, the atmosphere felt warm and sacred. Ozzy gently held his daughter's hand, telling her he was prouder of her than anything else in the world. It wasn't just a family moment, it was a deeply moving final chapter in the life of a true legend. Even knowing his time was limited, Ozzy stayed positive in front of his daughter. He asked about the wedding plans, fully aware he might not be there for the ceremony. Instead of sadness, he offered his most heartfelt blessing: "Live happily, never lose yourself." Those words, spoken before he closed his eyes to rest, have become priceless treasures for his family. Now we want to hear from you. Should Ozzy Osbourne officially retire from the stage after everything he's been through? If you think he deserves to rest and focus on his health, type 2 in the comments. But if you believe he still has the strength to inspire and shine through music, type 5. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss the latest stories about music legends. Michael Jackson wasn't just a star, he was a phenomenon, a global cultural force, and an artist who reshaped the music world forever. Yet behind the iconic glove, the gravity-defying dance moves, and the millions of admiring fans was a life marked by mystery, pressure, and truths he never found the strength to share. For decades, the world watched his face evolve, his appearance change, and countless stories swirl around him.
Quiet heartbeat beneath the fragile crown.
People assumed everything was simply the result of cosmetic procedures until the autopsy findings uncovered details far more complicated and heartbreaking. What was really behind that transformation? What was Michael Jackson trying so hard to shield from the world's questioning eyes? And did those changes come from surgery, from medical issues, or from the overwhelming pressure of fame that few could ever understand? Today, we're diving into the revelations that stunned the world not to judge, but to better understand the extraordinary life Michael Jackson had to navigate. If you believe his story goes far beyond the rumors, drop a 1-inch in the comments. If you're still unsure, leave a 0. Enjoy the video, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. And now, let's uncover this story together. He lay under full anesthesia, motionless beneath the cold lights of the examination room. In truth, it was the moment that revealed all the exhaustion and vulnerability he had spent years trying to hide. In that silent space, a body weighing just under 50 kilograms reflected a reality the world had never truly seen. And then, the forensic findings uncovered something that left fans completely stunned. It was a story that left the entire world stunned. The light reflected across his face, a face he himself sometimes wasn't sure still felt like his own. He once admitted, "I am a perfectionist." Yet beneath that confidence was a quiet, persistent fear. The fear of no longer being the Michael Jackson the world expected him to be. In the late 1970 seconds, when Off the Wall catapulted him to the height of fame, Michael stepped into a new era not just in music, but within himself. People remembered the warm, brown-skinned young man with natural curls, bright round eyes, and a shy smile. But behind the spotlight was another Michael, worn out, anxious, and increasingly fixated on how he appeared on television. He once told his doctor, "Just make a small adjustment so I can look better on stage." But even the slightest change was enough for the mirror to show a different face, more distant, unfamiliar, and in many ways no longer the boy the world had adored. The tiny scars were easily covered with makeup, but to Michael, they felt like deep cuts carved into his sense of self. Every tiny feature on his face became a place where he poured his fears. The fear of judgment, the fear of comparison, the fear of being left behind. And slowly, the mirror stopped being a companion. It became a cage that trapped his spirit. Fame is a double-edged sword. It allowed Michael to reach millions, yet it also chipped away at his inner strength, piece by piece. There was a time when Michael talked about sitting alone in a completely dark recording studio, turning off every light just to listen to the sound of his own breathing. Many thought it was a moment of artistic inspiration, but in truth, it was a moment when he was trying to figure out whether he could still feel himself. He became fixated on the smallest details. The bridge of his nose needed to be slimmer, his jawline sharper, his skin tone more even. His doctors recalled how he always carried perfectly edited photos, saying, "I want to look like this. No, even better than this." Rumors swirled that he was unhappy with his skin color, but the reality was more complicated. Michael had been diagnosed with vitiligo, a condition that causes patches of skin to lose pigment. Under the stage lights, these patches became even more noticeable, a constant reminder that his body was changing in ways beyond his control. Makeup could no longer conceal it. And so he made the choice to alter his appearance, a decision that was both deeply personal and born out of desperation. Rumors swirled that he was unhappy with his skin color, but the reality was more complicated. Michael had been diagnosed with vitiligo, a condition that causes patches of skin to lose pigment. Under the stage lights, these patches became even more noticeable, a constant reminder that his body was changing in ways beyond his control. Makeup could no longer conceal it, and so he made the choice to alter his appearance, a decision. But then, like a survival instinct, he forced a smile, convincing himself he was getting closer to the image the world expected. It was the harsh price that fame demanded from a legend. At first, he turned to cosmetic changes as a way to control his public image, a shield against constant scrutiny. Yet the more he tried to control, the more his own freedom slipped away. What began as protective tools slowly turned into chains that held him captive. To the world, he was a timeless icon. But to himself, sometimes it was a face he could never remove, a mask crafted to meet the expectations of millions. It's said that in his private room, Michael always kept a childhood photo, a reminder of who he once was. Yet with each passing day, the reflection in the mirror drifted further from that memory. Every alteration was a desperate hope to reconnect with himself, but instead, it often left him feeling even more lost. Perhaps what Michael was truly chasing wasn't a flawless face, but the freedom to simply be himself, something the stage lights had slowly taken away. Many say that some obsessions don't crush us all at once, but quietly erode us over time. For Michael, that obsession was called perfection. In a rare interview, he once said, "I'm not trying to be anyone else. I'm just trying to be the best version of myself." Yet on that journey, the line between being better and becoming no longer myself slowly faded. Starting in the early 1980 seconds, Michael underwent multiple cosmetic procedures, beginning with an on-stage injury and gradually evolving into a seemingly endless cycle. Doctors recalled that after each surgery, he would stand before the mirror for long moments, like an artist studying a painting he could never quite finish. "Just a little more," he would often whisper. And so, another alteration would begin. He always carried close-up photos of himself from various stages of life, marking the areas he wanted to alter. But what Michael saw in the mirror was no longer his true self. It was the weight of the world's enormous expectation. A cosmetic surgeon once reflected that Michael's greatest tragedy was being trapped in the very image he had created. There were countless rumors that he was trying to lighten his skin, But the reality was very different from what the media portrayed. Michael had been diagnosed with vitiligo, an autoimmune condition that causes uneven loss of skin pigment. Under the stage lights, the lighter and darker patches became more pronounced, forcing him to rely on specialized makeup to even out his complexion. The autopsy report after his passing confirmed this. Yet during his life, Michael endured endless cruel rumors, often being unfairly labeled a skin whitener. Those words became invisible yet persistent wounds, slowly eroding his self-esteem day by day. A close friend once recalled Michael crying while watching old videos of himself, softly whispering, "I miss that person. I don't know when he disappeared." What hurt him most wasn't the change in his appearance, but the growing sense that he could no longer recognize himself. From 1984 onward, every time Michael appeared, he amazed the public. Lighter skin, a slimmer nose, reshaped cheekbones, each change ignited a media frenzy. The press chased every photo, every rumor, treating his face as if it belonged to the world rather than to him. And the more famous he became, the deeper he withdrew into his private world. Although he lived in a sprawling mansion, Michael rarely welcomed visitors, staying connected with only a handful of close friends. In his private room, he displayed statues representing the different versions of himself throughout his career. Many said Michael saw them as the old Michael's pieces of himself he wanted to hold on to, because the world had already taken so much. A doctor who worked closely with him revealed that after every surgery, Michael needed extended pain medication not just for the physical discomfort, but also to cope with the mental strain of seeing his bandaged face, a constant reminder of changes he wasn't yet ready to accept. Some days, he would sit for hours in a dark room, listening to classical music, trying to escape and forget everything he had just endured. He once wrote in a note, "I can't stop thinking about my face changing. I fear that one day I'll wake up and not recognize the person in the mirror." The more he chased perfection, the more consumed he became by what felt incomplete. On one interview, when asked about his appearance, Michael gently replied, "I don't know who you're talking about. I don't see what you see." The interviewer took it as a lighthearted comment, but in truth, it revealed his inner reality, a man who could no longer recognize himself. Many experts later observed that these constant changes weren't just about looks. They reflected a deep disconnection with his own body, a pattern often seen in people who grow up in harsh environments where every small mistake is magnified. From an early age, Michael heard countless remarks about his appearance, especially his nose, and those words left deep, lasting marks on his heart, shaping lifelong insecurities. Once he became famous and had the means to change anything, he zeroed in on the very vulnerabilities that had once caused him pain. Ironically, each alteration only created new insecurities. Some say Michael reached his peak after Thriller. Others believe it began when vitiligo forced him to find ways to even out his skin tone. But whatever the cause, it led to one undeniable truth. Michael became increasingly trapped by the image he was trying to create. He once told a close friend, "I can't stop. If I stop, people will see that I've changed and they will leave." On the surface, it sounds simple, but beneath it lay a deep fear, the fear of being forgotten. For him, public admiration wasn't just joy. It was a lifeline that reminded him he still existed. This obsession slowly wore down both his mind and body. Every procedure left him drained. Every scar reminded him of the steep price he paid for a perfect image. Yet Michael pressed on, as if he had grown used to testing every limit. He once told a doctor, "I just want to look beautiful. I want people to be amazed when I step onto the stage." And they were amazed, just not in the way he had imagined. During a follow-up visit, The doctor gazed into his eyes and gently said, "Michael, it's time to stop." But Michael just gave a hauntingly sad smile. "I know, but I can't." That moment became one of the most honest confessions of his life. Brief, quiet, yet filled with a tragedy no words could fully capture. If this story makes you reflect, drop a 1 in the comments. If you're unsure, leave a 0 to share your perspective. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. And now, let's continue exploring the next developments. Behind the dazzling image of the King of Pop was a man quietly fading away. Audiences watched him shine on stage, but no one saw the endless loneliness beneath the makeup, where the lights were never warm enough to comfort a weary heart. Michael believed that if he could just be a little more perfect, he would be loved more. Yet life was cruelly ironic. The closer he got to perfection, the further he drifted from his true self. When the shows ended, the cheers faded, and the stage lights went dark. Michael would often sit alone, flipping through old photos, pictures he had once hidden, thinking they weren't beautiful enough. Looking back, perhaps all he ever wanted was to see that face one more time. Whole, natural, and truly his own. The face of youth, of dreams not yet faded. But time never rewinds. And from that moment, the journey from the man in the mirror to the man who no longer recognized himself reached its end. Michael Jackson, the immortal icon of the 20th century, ultimately left behind one undeniable truth. Beneath the dazzling spotlight was a loneliness the world could never reach. But what the world never saw was the quiet fragility slowly taking over Michael's body as he entered the most exhausted phase of his life. Behind the dazzling performances was a body pushed beyond its limits, enduring long-lasting pain he could hardly speak of. Fans saw the stage lights and the cheers, but no one witnessed the silent battle of a body worn down by years of relentless dedication. Later, medical reports also revealed that he had to rely on certain supportive medications, usually used in hospitals to manage sleep or ease pain. Experts pointed out that long-term dependence on these drugs carried serious risks, especially for a body like Michael's, which had endured years of relentless strain and damage. When authorities revealed that his weight had dropped to an alarmingly low level, the world was shocked. A man who once radiated boundless energy on stage had become a frail figure, a clear reflection of prolonged exhaustion. His body still carried the marks of decades of treatment, silent notes in a sorrowful melody he himself had composed. One doctor from the investigative team noted that each scar seemed to tell a part of the story. Michael could never voice the story of an artist chasing perfection to the point of harming himself. Do you think Meghan Markle's long-anticipated return to Hollywood has officially begun? A lot of people are starting to think so, but if you're already convinced, take a moment, don't celebrate too early. Before you go popping any champagne bottles, you might want to pause and really look at what's happening, because this time, her so-called comeback isn't quiet, low-key, or tucked away behind the scenes. It's the complete opposite. It's loud, very public, and impossible for anyone to overlook. This isn't the kind of subtle re-entry where a celebrity casually shows up at a glamorous event and hopes people notice. It's a full-on, unmistakable move that practically demands attention. And now, it's no longer just about Meghan, because the real twist this time comes from Adele, the powerhouse voice and unstoppable energy from the UK. What really grabs attention is how their two very different worlds suddenly crossed, in a way no one expected. So let's take a closer look at what happened when their stories collided in such a memorable moment. Before we dive in, drop a 1 in the comments if you relate to Meghan Markle, or a 0 if you see things differently. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, where we'll uncover even more behind this story. And she delivered it so quietly that everyone at Kris Jenner's birthday party could practically feel the temperature drop. It wasn't a gentle fade, it was the kind of sudden chill that sweeps through a room and makes every glittering surface freeze for a split second, as if something unseen had just drifted right through the center of Hollywood's most powerful crowd. Nobody said a thing, yet the shift was impossible to miss. A silent ripple everyone picked up on. Just picture it. A $165 million Beverly Hills mansion shining like a diamond, glowing under layers of soft light, so luxurious you could almost hear wealth humming from every perfectly polished surface. It wasn't just a lavish mansion, it was a stage built for the wealthiest and most influential, the people who can shape culture with a single decision. Everywhere you looked, famous faces drifted by, brushing shoulders as if at the Grammys, with gowns shimmering like waterfalls of stars, tuxedos cut to perfection, cinematic smiles frozen in place, and glasses of wine catching glimmers of gold. Conversations mingled with laughter, handshakes, flirtatious glances, and the soft fizz of champagne, all blending into one breathtaking, almost otherworldly atmosphere. This was a room where every step was noticed. Every breath seemed to carry a trace of Hollywood glamour, a space where light, music, and status merged into an energy that only the truly in crowd could ever fully understand. Every glance, every movement, every soft murmur of conversation seemed magnified, feeding off the presence of the powerful and famous gathered there. And in that electric atmosphere, the arrival of just one person could shift the entire dynamic of the room. Then, right in the middle of that glittering chaos, Meghan Markle walked in, breaking the rhythm like an unexpected spotlight, drawing eyes and attention without a word, changing the mood in an instant. She enters with unmistakable confidence, dressed as if she were the leading lady in the next James Bond film, sleek, striking, and impossible to ignore. The dress hugs every curve, catching the light in a way that makes her silhouette shine, and each step feels perfectly choreographed, deliberate, almost cinematic. She is glowing, truly glowing, radiating a brightness that makes conversations pause and turns heads instinctively, pulling everyone's attention toward her entrance. In that moment, Meghan didn't just arrive as another guest. She stepped into the mansion like a statement, a visual declaration that she was making her Hollywood return, and she was doing it on her own terms. She is glowing, utterly radiant, completely convinced that this is the night Hollywood finally whispers, "Welcome, darling. We've been waiting for you." In that moment, Meghan moves as if every light in the room has been turned on just for her, as if the entire event was orchestrated to mark her arrival. Each step carries a quiet, polished confidence, a subtle pride, the sense that she is walking into what could be a defining chapter of her life, the very moment when Hollywood finally opens its doors and recognizes her as someone destined to stand among its most powerful figures. Every expression on Meghan's face, from the subtle curl of her lips to the spark in her eyes catching the chandelier light, radiates the certainty that this could be the turning point she's been waiting for, the moment Hollywood finally embraces her as a star returning to her rightful place. To Meghan, this isn't just Kris Jenner's birthday party. It's a stage where producers, directors, and the most influential executives might finally take notice again, remember her brilliance, and wonder why her name ever faded from their conversations. She moves through the room believing that if tonight unfolds the way she imagines, if she captures the right attention at precisely the right moment, Hollywood will start rewriting the story, one that places her squarely at the center. But Hollywood had other plans. Across the glittering room, Adele sat among the A-list crowd, casually sipping her drink, radiating confidence, and not even glancing at Meghan. She didn't need to act cold. Her effortless indifference spoke louder than any calculated snub. While Meghan imagined the room shifting around her grand entrance, Adele, someone who naturally commands attention without trying, made it clear where the focus truly lay, simply by not acknowledging her. It was a quiet, powerful reminder that in Hollywood, the room doesn't always bend to your expectations. No judging stare, no hint of annoyance, not even the slightest flicker of interest. And it was precisely that quiet that revealed a deeper truth. Some people don't need to try to overshadow others, their presence alone does it effortlessly. Adele is exactly that kind of person. She doesn't glare, posture, or play any games. Her calm, effortless confidence and quiet indifference make a statement all on their own. In that glamorous, buzzing room filled with designer gowns, sparkling chandeliers, and conversations dripping with Hollywood polish, Adele's stillness cut through everything, sharp and unmistakable, like a cool breeze slicing through the warmth, leaving everyone aware of her without her saying a single word. It wasn't malicious, and it wasn't about competition. It was simply the way Adele naturally interacts with the world, and in doing so, it unintentionally made Meghan feel out of place in the very moment she had hoped to shine. While Meghan pinned her expectations on tonight being a turning point, believing that her career might shift simply by showing up at the right moment, Adele, the undisputed queen of the party, didn't give her even a passing glance. That stark contrast between Meghan's high hopes and Adele's effortless indifference turned the entire atmosphere into a chilling reminder that not everyone sees Meghan the way she sees herself. For Meghan, tonight was a chance, a reset button, a symbolic re-entry into Hollywood's circle of influence. But for Adele, it was just a pleasant evening among people she genuinely enjoyed, a night to relax and be herself. And it was this subtle yet piercing difference that created an invisible, almost painful distance, one that forced Meghan to face a harsh truth. Sometimes, another person's silence speaks louder than a direct rejection. Without saying a word, it communicates that you are not part of this moment, no matter how much you wish you were. No smile, no wave, not even the polite nod people give when they have to acknowledge someone they don't particularly like. Adele didn't offer the slightest hint of social courtesy, the kind most celebrities rely on to avoid unnecessary drama. She didn't have to try. No reluctant glance, no forced smile, no casual acknowledgement that Meghan was even in the room. And the crazy part? This wasn't the first time. That's right. Adele is rumored to have brushed Meghan off before, in a way subtle enough to seem like coincidence, but sharp enough for insiders to notice. This time, however, it wasn't subtle, it wasn't quiet. It happened in a room where every movement is watched, where even the smallest shift in energy can spark a wildfire of speculation. And this time, it unfolded right in front of Hollywood's power players, the directors, executives, producers, and cultural influencers whose opinions carry far more weight than any party walls could contain. And almost immediately, the whispers began. No one spoke loudly, but eyes met and flicked, lips moved in quiet murmurs, and subtle gestures set off a chain reaction across the room. A smile disappeared, a glance tilted, an eyebrow raised, each small signal magnified in a space where every movement is noticed. People weren't just commenting on Adele ignoring Meghan. They were speculating on why it happened and what it might mean for her standing in Hollywood. In the industry's social ecosystem, that moment wasn't simple indifference. It was a sharp, unmistakable signal, an unspoken message spreading through the crowd. Some doors were closing, and they might not open for Meghan again. But my friends, that was only the beginning. When Meghan and Harry walked into Kris Jenner's party, they weren't just entering a celebration, they stepped into a room where every glance carried hidden meaning, where every smile could be a greeting or a warning. Beneath the music, glamorous lighting, and polite small talk lay a complex maze of social strategy, a place where people sized each other up with subtle eye contact, strategic positioning, and carefully curated conversations. This wasn't an environment where the Sussexes could simply walk in and blend seamlessly. They had entered a stage where every move mattered. This was the ecosystem of Hollywood's most influential players, a room where every gesture is analyzed, every silence noticed, and every misstep could be headline gossip by morning. Meghan and Harry had stepped straight into a social minefield filled with icy hierarchies, subtle schemes, and an intensity more awkward than a high school cafeteria showdown. Every step felt like navigating unfamiliar territory, and every interaction held the potential to shift alliances or reveal cracks in the carefully curated facade. In this room, lingering too long near someone could be read as the start of a new alliance, while being ignored might be seen as a quiet declaration of rivalry. The air itself felt sharp, charged with unspoken expectations and uncomfortable truths. Meghan and Harry weren't just arriving at a party, they were stepping into a world where everyone else knew the rules, and they did not. And that's where our story truly begins, not with glitter and glamour, but with the cold, chilling silence of Hollywood politics at its most unforgiving. The moment Meghan and Harry stepped out of their luxurious car, the contrast in their energy was almost palpable. Meghan emerged with radiant confidence, glowing as if she had just hit the jackpot, moving with the poise of someone savoring a spotlight she had long dreamed of claiming. Her hair was flawlessly styled, her form-fitting dress highlighted every curve with deliberate elegance, and her smile was so dazzling it seemed to outshine the entire Beverly Hills skyline. Every detail combined to create an image of a vibrant, radiant Meghan, exuding the excitement of someone fully immersed in a moment she had been anticipating for years. She looked as if she had finally scored the golden ticket that so many could only dream of, a coveted invitation to Kris Jenner's ultra-luxurious 70th birthday celebration, hosted at Jeff Bezos's jaw-dropping $165 million mansion. From the moment she arrived, the atmosphere seemed to shift in her favor, every glance, gesture, and expression radiating a barely contained excitement, as if the room itself had noticed her presence. The event felt like the perfect stage for Meghan to shine at full capacity, a chance to assert herself amid a gathering of some of Hollywood's most powerful and affluent figures, each carefully positioned in a space where influence and status were measured as much by subtle social cues as by wealth and fame. For Meghan, this event felt like the ultimate proof that she had truly arrived. The flashing cameras, the elite guest list, and the extravagant atmosphere all served as a clear validation for the world she had worked tirelessly to enter. To her, this wasn't just another party, it was a defining moment, a stage on which she could shine and demonstrate to everyone that she belonged among the highest circles of luxury and influence. Every step she took radiated confidence, every glance seemed perfectly measured, and every gesture suggested that this glamorous setting had been waiting for her arrival all along, a moment that confirmed her place in the world she had long sought to be part of. Harry, in contrast, wore an expression that couldn't have been more different from Meghan's radiant excitement. As he stepped out of the car, he looked as if he would rather be facing a dragon than the swarm of paparazzi waiting outside the mansion. His face carried a heavy sadness, his posture stiff and tense, every movement betraying a deep discomfort, clearly signaling that he would have preferred to be anywhere else. His grip on Meghan's hand wasn't affectionate, it was the desperate clutch of someone being dragged into a haunted house against his will. Every gesture, every subtle shift in his stance radiated reluctance and exhaustion, creating a stark contrast to the glittering glamour and excitement enveloping Meghan, as if the two were existing in entirely different worlds within the same moment. The moment Meghan and Harry stepped through those towering gates, the atmosphere seemed to shift instantly. Conversation softened, laughter dimmed, and heads subtly turned toward them. But the looks they received weren't the wide-eyed stares reserved for royalty. Instead, they were measured, socially attuned glances that silently said, "Ah, they've arrived." It wasn't awe, it was keen awareness, the kind that only comes from people who know exactly how the game of Hollywood social dynamics is played. Every face in the room carried a flicker of curiosity, not because of Harry's lineage or Meghan's fame, but because their arrival brought a different kind of weight to a setting where status, reputation, and influence were constantly being measured. To be clear, this wasn't a casual backyard birthday party with balloons and a barbecue. This was a high-level social convergence, a carefully curated environment where every guest was there for a reason. They were powerful, wealthy, iconic, or strategically important. Interactions in this space were rarely casual. Every conversation, every greeting, every subtle acknowledgement carried meaning and potential consequences. In a setting like this, Meghan and Harry weren't simply entering a celebration, they were stepping onto a stage filled with people who navigated social hierarchies with exacting precision. Every gaze that followed their entrance was sharper, more deliberate, and loaded with meaning. Meghan, deep down, believed she belonged here, part of this glittering ecosystem of influence, power, and elegance. But as she took a few steps further into the room, the reality of the situation settled over her like a quiet, unmistakable chill. The vibe in the room wasn't warm or inviting, it was chilly, unmistakably chilly. It was the kind of cold that comes from social distance, from polite but disinterested looks, from the quiet realization that not everyone saw her as a real part of this exclusive circle. Even with her brightest smile locked in place, she could feel a soft but heavy silence surrounding her, a silence that drew an invisible line between the people who naturally belonged and the ones who hoped to. And then, of course, there were the two undeniable stars of the night, Mariah Carey and Martha Stewart. Meghan could feel that coldness from the quick glances and the quiet tension around her, but will she dare to step across that line? And hey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more behind-the-scenes insights into moments like this. Do you think Meghan Markle's long-anticipated return to Hollywood has officially begun? A lot of people are starting to think so, but if you're already convinced, take a moment, don't celebrate too early. Before you go popping any champagne bottles, you might want to pause and really look at what's happening. Because this time, her so-called comeback isn't quiet, low-key, or tucked away behind the scenes. It's the complete opposite. It's loud, very public, and impossible for anyone to overlook. This isn't the kind of subtle re-entry where a celebrity casually shows up at a glamorous event and hopes people notice. It's a full-on, unmistakable move that practically demands attention. And now, it's no longer just about Meghan, because the real twist this time comes from Adele, the powerhouse voice and unstoppable energy from the UK. What really grabs attention is how their two very different worlds suddenly crossed, in a way no one expected. So let's take a closer look at what happened when their stories collided in such a memorable moment. Before we dive in, drop a 1-inch the comments if you relate to Meghan Markle, or a 0 if you see things differently. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, where we'll uncover even more behind this story. And she delivered it so quietly that everyone at Kris Jenner's birthday party could practically feel the temperature drop. It wasn't a gentle fade, it was the kind of sudden chill that sweeps through a room and makes every glittering surface freeze for a split second, as if something unseen had just drifted right through the center of Hollywood's most powerful crowd. Nobody said a thing, yet the shift was impossible to miss. A silent ripple everyone picked up on. Just picture it. A $165 million Beverly Hills mansion shining like a diamond, glowing under layers of soft light, so luxurious you could almost hear wealth humming from every perfectly polished surface. It wasn't just a lavish mansion, it was a stage built for the wealthiest and most influential, the people who can shape culture with a single decision. Everywhere you looked, famous faces drifted by, brushing shoulders as if at the Grammys, with gowns shimmering like waterfalls of stars, tuxedos cut to perfection, cinematic smiles frozen in place, and glasses of wine catching glimmers of gold. Conversations mingled with laughter, handshakes, flirtatious glances, and the soft fizz of champagne, all blending into one breathtaking, almost otherworldly atmosphere. This was a room where every step was noticed. Every breath seemed to carry a trace of Hollywood glamour, a space where light, music, and status merged into an energy that only the truly in crowd could ever fully understand. Every glance, every movement, every soft murmur of conversation seemed magnified, feeding off the presence of the powerful and famous gathered there. And in that electric atmosphere, the arrival of just one person could shift the entire dynamic of the room. Then, right in the middle of that glittering chaos, Meghan Markle walked in, breaking the rhythm like an unexpected spotlight, drawing eyes and attention without a word, changing the mood in an instant. She enters with unmistakable confidence, dressed as if she were the leading lady in the next James Bond film, sleek, striking, and impossible to ignore. The dress hugs every curve, catching the light in a way that makes her silhouette shine, and each step feels perfectly choreographed, deliberate, almost cinematic. She is glowing, truly glowing, radiating a brightness that makes conversations pause and turns heads instinctively, pulling everyone's attention toward her entrance. In that moment, Meghan didn't just arrive as another guest. She stepped into the mansion like a statement, a visual declaration that she was making her Hollywood return, and she was doing it on her own terms. She is glowing, utterly radiant, completely convinced that this is the night Hollywood finally whispers, "Welcome, darling. We've been waiting for you." In that moment, Meghan moves as if every light in the room has been turned on just for her, as if the entire event was orchestrated to mark her arrival. Each step carries a quiet, polished confidence, a subtle pride, the sense that she is walking into what could be a defining chapter of her life, the very moment when Hollywood finally opens its doors and recognizes her as someone destined to stand among its most powerful figures. Every expression on Meghan's face, from the subtle curl of her lips to the spark in her eyes catching the chandelier light, radiates the certainty that this could be the turning point she's been waiting for, the moment Hollywood finally embraces her as a star returning to her rightful place. To Meghan, this isn't just Kris Jenner's birthday party. It's a stage where producers, directors, and the most influential executives might finally take notice again, remember her brilliance, and wonder why her name ever faded from their conversations. She moves through the room believing that if tonight unfolds the way she imagines, if she captures the right attention at precisely the right moment, Hollywood will start rewriting the story, one that places her squarely at the center. But Hollywood had other plans. Across the glittering room, Adele sat among the A-list crowd, casually sipping her drink, radiating confidence, and not even glancing at Meghan. She didn't need to act cold. Her effortless indifference spoke louder than any calculated snub. While Meghan imagined the room shifting around her grand entrance, Adele, someone who naturally commands attention without trying, made it clear where the focus truly lay, simply by not acknowledging her. It was a quiet, powerful reminder that in Hollywood, the room doesn't always bend to your expectations. No judging stare, no hint of annoyance, not even the slightest flicker of interest. And it was precisely that quiet that revealed a deeper truth. Some people don't need to try to overshadow others. Their presence alone does it effortlessly. Adele is exactly that kind of person. She doesn't glare, posture, or play any games. Her calm, effortless confidence and quiet indifference make a statement all on their own. In that glamorous, buzzing room filled with designer gowns, sparkling chandeliers, and conversations dripping with Hollywood polish, Adele's stillness cut through everything, sharp and unmistakable, like a cool breeze slicing through the warmth, leaving everyone aware of her without her saying a single word. It wasn't malicious, and it wasn't about competition. It was simply the way Adele naturally interacts with the world, and in doing so, it unintentionally made Meghan feel out of place in the very moment she had hoped to shine. While Meghan pinned her expectations on tonight being a turning point, believing that her career might shift simply by showing up at the right moment, Adele, the undisputed queen of the party, didn't give her even a passing glance. That stark contrast, between Meghan's high hopes and Adele's effortless indifference, turned the entire atmosphere into a chilling reminder that not everyone sees Meghan the way she sees herself. For Meghan, tonight was a chance, a reset button, a symbolic re-entry into Hollywood's circle of influence. But for Adele, it was just a pleasant evening among people she genuinely enjoyed, a night to relax and be herself. And it was this subtle yet piercing difference that created an invisible, almost painful distance, one that forced Meghan to face a harsh truth. Sometimes, another person's silence speaks louder than a direct rejection. Without saying a word, it communicates that you are not part of this moment, no matter how much you wish you were. No smile, no wave, not even the polite nod people give when they have to acknowledge someone they don't particularly like. Adele didn't offer the slightest hint of social courtesy, the kind most celebrities rely on to avoid unnecessary drama. She didn't have to try. No reluctant glance, no forced smile, no casual acknowledgement that Meghan was even in the room. And the crazy part? This wasn't the first time. That's right. Adele is rumored to have brushed Meghan off before, in a way subtle enough to seem like coincidence but sharp enough for insiders to notice. This time, however, it wasn't subtle, it wasn't quiet. It happened in a room where every movement is watched, where even the smallest shift in energy can spark a wildfire of speculation. And this time, it unfolded right in front of Hollywood's power players, the directors, executives, producers, and cultural influencers whose opinions carry far more weight than any party walls could contain. And almost immediately, the whispers began. No one spoke loudly, but eyes met and flicked, lips moved in quiet murmurs, and subtle gestures set off a chain reaction across the room. A smile disappeared, a glance tilted, an eyebrow raised, each small signal magnified in a space where every movement is noticed. People weren't just commenting on Adele ignoring Meghan. They were speculating on why it happened and what it might mean for her standing in Hollywood. In the industry's social ecosystem, that moment wasn't simple indifference. It was a sharp, unmistakable signal, an unspoken message spreading through the crowd. Some doors were closing, and they might not open for Meghan again. But my friends, that was only the beginning. When Meghan and Harry walked into Kris Jenner's party, they weren't just entering a celebration, they stepped into a room where every glance carried hidden meaning, where every smile could be a greeting or a warning. Beneath the music, glamorous lighting, and polite small talk lay a complex maze of social strategy, a place where people sized each other up with subtle eye contact, strategic positioning, and carefully curated conversations. This wasn't an environment where the Sussexes could simply walk in and blend seamlessly. They had entered a stage where every move mattered. This was the ecosystem of Hollywood's most influential players, a room where every gesture is analyzed, every silence noticed, and every misstep could be headline gossip by morning. Meghan and Harry had stepped straight into a social minefield filled with icy hierarchies, subtle schemes, and an intensity more awkward than a high school cafeteria showdown. Every step felt like navigating unfamiliar territory, and every interaction held the potential to shift alliances or reveal cracks in the carefully curated facade. In this room, lingering too long near someone could be read as the start of a new alliance, while being ignored might be seen as a quiet declaration of rivalry. The air itself felt sharp, charged with unspoken expectations and uncomfortable truths. Meghan and Harry weren't just arriving at a party, they were stepping into a world where everyone else knew the rules, and they did not. And that's where our story truly begins, not with glitter and glamour, but with the cold, chilling silence of Hollywood politics at its most unforgiving. The moment Meghan and Harry stepped out of their luxurious car, the contrast in their energy was almost palpable. Meghan emerged with radiant confidence, glowing as if she had just hit the jackpot, moving with the poise of someone savoring a spotlight she had long dreamed of claiming. Her hair was flawlessly styled, her form-fitting dress highlighted every curve with deliberate elegance, and her smile was so dazzling it seemed to outshine the entire Beverly Hills skyline. Every detail combined to create an image of a vibrant, radiant Meghan, exuding the excitement of someone fully immersed in a moment she had been anticipating for years. She looked as if she had finally scored the golden ticket that so many could only dream of, a coveted invitation to Kris Jenner's ultra-luxurious 70th birthday celebration, hosted at Jeff Bezos's jaw-dropping $165 million mansion. From the moment she arrived, the atmosphere seemed to shift in her favor. Every glance, gesture, and expression radiating a barely contained excitement, as if the room itself had noticed her presence. The event felt like the perfect stage for Meghan to shine at full capacity, a chance to assert herself amid a gathering of some of Hollywood's most powerful and affluent figures, each carefully positioned in a space where influence and status were measured as much by subtle social cues as by wealth and fame. For Meghan, this event felt like the ultimate proof that she had truly arrived. The flashing cameras, the elite guest list, and the extravagant atmosphere all served as a clear validation for the world she had worked tirelessly to enter. To her, this wasn't just another party, it was a defining moment, a stage on which she could shine and demonstrate to everyone that she belonged among the highest circles of luxury and influence. Every step she took radiated confidence, every glance seemed perfectly measured, and every gesture suggested that this glamorous setting had been waiting for her arrival all along, a moment that confirmed her place in the world she had long sought to be part of. Harry, in contrast, wore an expression that couldn't have been more different from Meghan's radiant excitement. As he stepped out of the car, he looked as if he would rather be facing a dragon than the swarm of paparazzi waiting outside the mansion. His face carried a heavy sadness, his posture stiff and tense, every movement betraying a deep discomfort, clearly signaling that he would have preferred to be anywhere else. His grip on Meghan's hand wasn't affectionate, it was the desperate clutch of someone being dragged into a haunted house against his will. Every gesture, every subtle shift in his stance radiated reluctance and exhaustion, creating a stark contrast to the glittering glamour and excitement enveloping Meghan, as if the two were existing in entirely different worlds within the same moment. The moment Meghan and Harry stepped through those towering gates, the atmosphere seemed to shift instantly. Conversation softened, laughter dimmed, and heads subtly turned toward them. But the looks they received weren't the wide-eyed stares reserved for royalty. Instead, they were measured, socially attuned glances that silently said, "Ah, they've arrived." It wasn't awe, it was keen awareness, the kind that only comes from people who know exactly how the game of Hollywood social dynamics is played. Every face in the room carried a flicker of curiosity, not because of Harry's lineage or Meghan's fame, but because their arrival brought a different kind of weight to a setting where status, reputation, and influence were constantly being measured. To be clear, this wasn't a casual backyard birthday party with balloons and a barbecue. This was a high-level social convergence, a carefully curated environment where every guest was there for a reason. They were powerful, wealthy, iconic, or strategically important. Interactions in this space were rarely casual. Every conversation, every greeting, every subtle acknowledgement carried meaning and potential consequences. In a setting like this, Meghan and Harry weren't simply entering a celebration, they were stepping onto a stage filled with people who navigated social hierarchies with exacting precision. Every gaze that followed their entrance was sharper, more deliberate, and loaded with meaning. Meghan, deep down, believed she belonged here, part of this glittering ecosystem of influence, power, and elegance. But as she took a few steps further into the room, the reality of the situation settled over her like a quiet, unmistakable chill. The vibe in the room wasn't warm or inviting, it was chilly, unmistakably chilly. It was the kind of cold that comes from social distance, from polite but disinterested looks, from the quiet realization that not everyone saw her as a real part of this exclusive circle. Even with her brightest smile locked in place, she could feel a soft but heavy silence surrounding her, a silence that drew an invisible line between the people who naturally belonged and the ones who hoped to. And then, of course, there were the two undeniable